rush, adrenaline rush now. Adrenaline rush, adrenaline rush now. Adrenaline rush, adrenaline rush now. Adrenaline rush, adrenaline rush now.
That's the story. Show's back. All right, let's do Impact.
Jeff Hardy arrived. Holt gave him a pep talk. We had Hernandez and Chavo versus Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. They explained last week in the show you missed. I missed it too until just yesterday. But this would be a 2 out of 3 falls championship match. And if the Mexicans lost, they can never team again. So 2 out of 3 falls. It was tied at 1 fall apiece less than 3 minutes in. Why did they even bother?
I don't know why they did a 3 falls match.
So then the third fall ended up going like 15 minutes anyway. So it's not like they were rushed for time either. They just decided to do 2 falls in a minute each. It was very strange. And then in the third fall, Hernandez got a hot tag and ran wild. And he ran so wild, he went to a commercial break. It was a very strange match, this whole thing. So eventually, Hernandez tries his big dive from the ramp to the apron. He hit it the first time and he took out both heels. He tried it a second time, but he took out Chavo. You think, uh-oh, trouble. They're going to take this to the finish and then they're going to feud. But no. They overcame this, and Hernandez ended up suplexing both heels at once, and Chavo hit Roode with a frog splash and pinned him. So there's new champions. A little bummed we're not getting Aries and Roode versus Daniels and Kazarian after all.
Well, we still can, just not for the titles.
Yeah. But there you go. The three teams in the roster keep trading the belts. It was a very fun match by the end, but up to that point, it was very weird for a long time.
It was sad that Roode and Aries lost the titles, but as I noted earlier, give the babyfaces a win in their land. Can't say hometown, so Texas. So I was happy with that.
Brooke Hogan's nipples were walking around backstage.
Boy, were they ever.
I, at first, thought you had bought a 3D TV and not told me. They were just there.
No, they were much more than just there. They were popping through the screen.
Yeah. Perhaps not coincidentally, Joey Ryan appeared. He wanted to ref the women's match again. Brooke said no, said he had a match later. Joseph Park came out in a suit. Ran down the aces and eights for a while, called himself an expert in divorce law. The speech was so exciting
That's new.
Over his shoulder, an old man in the crowd appeared to fall asleep. Or perhaps he may have just passed away.
It was Rip Van Winkle. It really was.
Yeah. So Joe said he had annulment papers. And then Devon came out and tore them up and warned Park to stay out of family business. He turned to leave, then he turned back around and he smacked Park with a chain. Taryn Terrell versus Gale came with ODB as ref. Taryn, I was dreading her actual matches.
They're fine.
They're totally fine. And her I don't know if charisma is the right word, but she's very wacky.
She's very charismatic.
All right, there you go then. But yes, it's much better as a she's much better as a wrestler than she was a referee, and worlds better than as a GM.
God, I'll say.
What do we remember how that came about? Was somebody else get fired at the last second?
How she became a GM?
Yeah, like Adam Lee quit or something.
So I love the idea that Adam Lee would quit, and so they threw in Taryn Terrell.
Well, they threw Taryn Terrell in there. I don't remember the circumstances.
All right, let's see here.
So the point of all this is that Gale tried to get the win with a handful of tights, like she did last week, but ODB pulled her off, and then Taryn rolled up Gale for the win.
All right, here we go. Let's see. ECW General Manager. On the June 10, 2008 episode of ECW, Terrell made her debut under the ring name Tiffany as the on-screen assistant general manager under Theodore Long. That's all it says.
Yeah, that sucked. So, Taryn got the win. ODB chased Gale to the back. Chrissy decides this is a good time to interview Taryn. Taryn said that she wanted to get physical with Gail, and now she wants to know who wants to get physical with her. And as she said this, she slapped Christy Hemme on the ass. Mm-hmm. This sure seemed like a proposition. The gut check judges discussed last week's match. Their analysis was that Magno fell on his head and that Adam Pearce cheated to win.
They showed, I didn't see last week's show. So when I saw every single botch they showed of this poor Magno, it's like, you picked him? I guess we're jumping ahead of ourselves here.
Well, we're jumping ahead.
I just got to jump ahead. Let me just tell the story. Yeah. They cut Adam Pearce, and then they go out to the crowd, and Danny Davis goes first, and he votes no. They give Magno the mic to cut a promo, which is how can I
thumbs
be
down
generous about this?
Well, let's say thumbs down.
Worst promo I've ever heard. Right. No, it was very poor.
Up there.
And then the next, I think it was Bruce Pritchard was next. He voted no, which raises 10,000 questions. First off, why the hell did they choose Magno instead of Adam Pearce? I realize Adam Pearce cheated to win, but this is the gut check. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Bruce Pritchard even admitted, Bruce Pritchard and I believe Danny Davis both admitted in the backstage segment that they liked Adam Pearce. They're the same people that in the ring voted Magno out. So why did they choose Magno over Adam Pearce earlier in the evening? Am I missing something here?
I don't. Well, there's no guarantee they would have voted for him. They may have given him 2 thumbs down as well. My favorite part of all this was when Danny Davis outright said, "You would be a star in OVW, but you're not good enough to make it here."
Yeah.
He buried his own company.
Well, it's developmental.
Where the hell were we?
Gobsmacked over this decision and gut check.
They cut Adam Pearce. Hogan said he was going to address AJ in the ring.
By the way, everyone, whatever you do not Google Taryn Terrell and hit images.
Distracted?
Of course not. I'm a professional. Don't even come over on this side.
I have a computer.
All right.
Taryn Terrell. Images. Yeah. Lovely young lass.
4th over from the top to the left.
In the pink?
Maybe we're looking at a different thing here.
There's many wins here.
I, of course, have mine on Safe Search because I'm a professional.
I don't think I do, but none of these actually look... Oh, that's not safe. That's not safe. All right. The hell were we? Anderson approached AJ backstage, gave him the Aces and Eights jacket again. They wanted to be on their team. So Hulk goes down in the ring, calls AJ out, wants to know whose side he's on. AJ comes out, still carrying the Aces and Eights jacket. Hulk says, "Whose side are you on?" AJ says, I don't like ultimatums. Storm comes out and says he and AJ are going to fight. Bad Influence comes out. They went almost as fast as I'm reading it here. So Bad Influence says, AJ, the Aces and Eights want you. Hulk Hogan wants you on his team. These are both losing scenarios. You should join us. You know, you're mad about that whole Claire Lynch thing, but you got to admit it was even worse after Dixie turned on you. AJ seemed to be considering this offer. Storm started talking shit to him, and AJ left. And finally, Hulk said since AJ won't make a decision, he would. He booked AJ versus Storm for next week. Storm was very happy to hear that news.
I love how AJ gets more and more wild looking with each passing week.
Because
when you're mad, you stop grooming.
He appeared to have not washed his hair in 2013. It was so greasy.
Oh, this is sad.
Uh-oh.
Then the Taryn Terrell... first off, the reason we were looking at a different picture was apparently I spelled her name wrong. But, yeah, here's her and Drew McIntyre. All lovey on the beach. There's another one of her and Drew. Back in sunnier days, everybody. Back in sunnier days. All right, go on.
So, yeah, Storm versus AJ next week. Angle's backstage saying he asked for a handicap match against Weston Garrett. It never happened, so I guess it's going to happen next week. Joey Ryan versus Rob Terry. Rob Terry got a fancy new video that makes him look like the Terminator. He squashed Joey Ryan in one of the Fireman's Carry Spinebuster thing.
Yep.
They aired a commercial for the Shop TNA site. Their newest product is a Dixie Carter doll.
Yeah.
That looks nothing like Dixie Carter.
They augmented her bosom and appeared to have given her biceps.
Yeah.
I don't know why I found that also funny. And then, talk about asking for trouble. They said, tweet your pictures of you with the doll anywhere. Really? This is not like asking, begging. Speaking of safe search, it's going to be a complete disaster. They do realize that there's like a Vince McMahon doll. And that now that they've asked for these photos, it's just going to be a cavalcade of a cacophony of. I can't think of anything that started with a C.
Are you suggesting Vince may be in a bit of a dominant position?
I don't know how people will put the dolls, but they're asking for it. They're asking for trouble here. A Dixie Carter doll. Who would buy that?
That's an excellent question.
I mean, I'm not even just saying that to be like, a jerk. Who would buy a Dixie Carter doll? Like, listen, if somebody made a doll of me, nobody would buy it, nor should they. Who would buy a Dixie Carter doll?
What if it were a voodoo doll of you?
I hope nobody would buy it. So, yeah. Go to shoptna.com. I'm going to go right now, actually. I got to see this. I got to see this doll in all its glory. Spring cleaning sale. They put Gail Kim to work. There it is. Purchase the TNA President Dixie Carter doll exclusively at shoptna.com. You can actually zoom in on the thing. I swear to God, she actually looks like this doll looks amazingly like Stephanie McMahon. She's a powerful female executive.
It looks way more like Steph than it does like Dixie.
Big biceps, heaving bosom, small waist. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing to me. Oh my God, look at the back cover.
That's why I'm reading this. Called one of the most influential women in American sports.
Who calls her that?
Really? Dixie Carter's role as president of TNA Wrestling has helped... I can't read that, it's very small. Something the face of sports entertainment.
Dungy?
Deny?
Oh, change.
Oh,
Change the face of sports entertainment.
Can I zoom in anymore? I can't. It zooms out more.
Each year, TNA Wrestling produces over 500 hours of programming.
That is sent to more than 100 countries and in 14 different languages.
Yeah.
As president of TNA Wrestling, Dixie Carter oversees all aspects of operations related to the expansion of the Integrated
Media Entertainment Company. Carter became president of TNA Wrestling
in 2003, helping secure a domestic primetime television contract between TNA's flagship show Impact Wrestling and Spike TV.
Wow. 1999.
What a fun doll to play with. She can negotiate contracts.
If I didn't know any better, I would think that someone made this up, but that's a real thing.
This does look homemade.
That is a real thing. Wow.
I'm looking closer at the packaging now. It's a Dixie Carter doll, which to her left and to her right has photos of Dixie Carter.
That's true. You got to know who she really is.
This is really quite the
the
ego trip.
That is amazing.
Hulk told Brooke he wanted her to watch the main event from the luxury box.
You want something funny? If you go down below, it says description. Dixie Carter exclusive action figure debut. Only available at shoptna.com. Buy your exclusive action figure of TNA President Dixie Carter from shoptna.com. Then follow at TNA Dixie on Twitter and post a picture of your action figure along with your location and hashtag where is Dixie. Every picture posted enters for a chance to win an Impact Wrestling piece of merchandise, a TNA Heavyweight Championship replica belt, or even a phone call from TNA President Dixie Carter.
You reading the comments?
Yeah, several positions at your mom.
Yeah, so that's Luke James Marshall's, I guess, his location. Oh, Dixie, heart. To which Chico cast the chicks. Music artist at Tough'em. So,
Tough 'em up.
Tough 'em up, I see. So what? That thing they have going of people taking photos of the Dixie action figure in different cities. To which Luke James Marshall, who came back for more, Luke James Marshall of several positions at your mom. Yeah, man, you take a photo with it and go in the draw to win a replica belt, merch, or a phone call from Dixie, smiley face.
Smiley face.
Tuesday at 1:32 a.m.
That's a friendly guy. No comments since Tuesday. They just plugged the shit out of this thing tonight.
I guess not.
Anyway, on top of that, if you go to next to description, there is a thing that says details, where you would expect to get details. And it says, and I quote, item number 8-Dixie-UN. Those are the details, everyone. And no reviews.
No reviews. However, there are 177 ratings, and the average rating is 4.5 out of 5 stars.
That may be more than the Undertaker match got in the Observer.
The Dixie Carter doll, by the way, available for the low price of $19.99.
I gotta actually go find out if her
Has
doll
86 likes.
Yeah. Let's see here. I haven't read it yet. What did Dave give the Undertaker match here?
I believe only gave it 4.
Undertaker 4. Nope, you gave it 4.5.
Okay.
You edited the goddamn thing.
I added a lot today.
Numbskull. 4.5 stars. So the Undertaker versus CM Punk match is in fact of equal quality to the Dixie Carter doll.
Yeah.
How about that? All right, continue on.
Talked about the Rob Terry match. Hulk wanted Brooke to watch the main event from the luxury box. She said no. She had to be there when Bully Ray lost. Hulk said fine. Morgan arrived, said this is all more Hogan's mistakes, and they were all going to come crashing down around him. So does Matt Morgan, is he still a wrestler?
I don't know.
Does he fly himself around the country just to give Hulk a hard time?
I'm sure. I guess so. I was going to say he lived in Orlando, but they're out of there.
Yeah. Magno appeared before the gut check judges. We talked about this, but yeah. Davis said, you could be a star for my company, but not here. I vote no. Magno cut an indie show promo, a Mexican indie show promo, partly in Spanish, about how he wanted to be a star. And then Bruce Pritchard took a very, very long time to say no. Al never even talked. He just stood there in his jacket. That was it. Magno, by the way, took this, he knew it was coming. Didn't really care. Shook their hands, left. Aces and Nates gave Bully an awesome prep talk backstage. He made them promise not to interfere in his match. He wanted to beat Jeff and humiliate Hogan by himself. It's time for the main event.
Had a hell of a match.
It was a hell of a match between Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray in a Full Metal Mayhem, which is their way of saying TLC, as Jeff Hardy attempted to kill himself for our entertainment.
I realize this is somewhat based on selfishness on my part, but this TNA only doing 4 pay-per-views a year is such an improvement. Where instead of doing a pay-per-view that nobody's going to buy, you build up to one big mega TV show a month, and you have an awesome match like this, and then you just kind of move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And it leads to better television. It'll lead to, hopefully it'll lead to pay-per-views that people care a little bit more about. And I think it's a positive all around. And if the pay-per-views are really doing as bad as it seems, then they're probably not losing nearly as much money. So it is a win-win-win-win-win-win-win. Good work, TNA.
Also winning is Jeff Hardy's chiropractor. Killed himself here. And the first one was actually the worst of all. He got that ramp going down to the ring. And Jeff charged Bully Ray. And Bully Ray gave him a backdrop. And they did this backdrop exactly the way you do it if you wanted to launch him high into the ring and have him come down in the ring. Except he launched him high into the air and he came down on the ramp.
Yeah.
And the ramp has no give. And Jeff bounced like a foot in the air. That is so brutal.
Yeah.
That is so bad for you. Don't ever do this, anyone. Ever. I mean, there was 3 or 4 other spots that were pretty insane, but that none of them could top that one. So They brought outside. Ray was getting in Brooke's face, and she flipped the bird, and then she slapped him. And they tried to get Ray on a table, but it broke. So Jeff went up to the stage, got another one, brought it back, and this time Ray stretched across the table in the phoniest and most gentle manner possible.
Don't want to break that thing twice. It took him 5 minutes to get a new table down there.
Yeah, Jeff had a senton from the top through the floor.
I don't want to make fun of
the
TNA.
table.
They're trying and everything like that. But when that table broke and Jeff Hardy went and he looked for a table under the ring and there wasn't one, and then he went around to the other side of the ring and looked under and there wasn't one, and he had to go all the way up onto the ramp, I could just see him in his head going, this never would have happened in WWE.
Yeah.
There would have been 150 tables underneath that ring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
So finally, Jeff goes to climb. Taz passes Bully Ray a hammer, and Ray meets Jeff at the top of the ladder, hits him in the head with a hammer, and Jeff falls off through a table, and Ray grabs the belt, so he wins. Aces and Eights all come down and celebrate with him, and that was the end of it.
I thought this was a very good match. Thought it was an excellent match. Given my thoughts on all that stuff, but I do love this format a hell of a lot better than the old Impact format. And just got to stop killing himself. You know what I mean?
Please.
Did he really need to take a backdrop onto the ramp?
No, he didn't.
And the best thing about the ramp, by the way, is the fact that now we don't have to watch Hernandez nearly kill himself with his dive outside the ring. Now he can run from the ramp, dive over the ropes, and into the ring. Much, much better. I thought it was a good show. It never feels like a show that, like, you gotta watch. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a show that every week I watch it. It's fun. I don't get annoyed by it. And then I kind of, like, move on with my life. Like, when I went to Mania, it's like I didn't see the show, and I didn't feel like I needed to watch it, and I didn't miss it. And, like, I heard nothing about it. Mm-hmm. Like, in the entire weekend, think of all the shows I went to and all the wrestling fans I saw. Not one single person, not one single fan, not one single individual that I met had anything to say about this Impact. You know? Or last week's Impact. So, the show has no impact. But as a wrestling show, as a television show, I enjoy it every week. So, I don't know what any of this means, but it certainly is better than when I hated it every single solitary week because it sucked.
Absolutely, yeah. By the way, we talked about star ratings earlier. For $2.99, you can get a Jeff Hardy coloring book.
Please tell me there's star ratings in the coloring book.
It's getting 1.5 stars.
Wow.
People hate the coloring book.
Now, why is that?
There's a lot of comments here.
Read a couple of the comments about the Jeff Hardy coloring book that apparently is...
Jordan Alvarez says you really...
Alvarez?
Yeah. He says you really did not get it, and he adds, cool. Evan McCrory says, I ordered one and never got it. I love Jeff Hardy, I just never got it. Angelina Izzy Parker says, I'm almost 20 and I would get this.
I do got to say that if you're not actually getting the merchandise, that's a pretty good reason to give it a low rating.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lacey Evans says, sweet. Ty Kiefer says, nice. You need to get Jeff to color one and sell it on eBay. Tommy Bamford, which is a great name, says, did TNA go PG all of a sudden? Ha ha. Well, I suppose if kids buy it.
I like when you go up under the menu where it says deals. One of the options under deals is insane deals.
Phil White says, LMAO, are you kidding me? Wow, awful. Very unimpressed with the Jeff Hardy coloring book.
I'll say. Do they have a sort by star ratings? So I can see what's the most...
what's the least popular product? You know, as we were heading out of... as WrestleMania was emptying out, we're all making our way out the door. There's a fan angry with the result of the main event who started screaming about how John Cena was still champion and that meant another year of PG. He said that like that was the biggest problem in wrestling, is that it was PG. You know, I didn't see as much wrestling as a lot of guys, but I saw that Ring of Honor show, which I liked. It was very good. It was not the best show I ever saw. It was very, very good. And I tried really hard to think of anything on that show that was not PG. Probably the stuff with Maria. Maria's costume was definitely an R. And there was some some physical activity, I will say, with her.
There was some fondling.
Yeah. That was not PG.
I'd like to note, by the way, that just as a note, since Todd Martin talked about it on the show today, and someone from Ring of Honor listened to the show and wanted to make sure to note that, in fact, Ring of Honor did not come up with the fondling idea in that match, but rather the individuals involved all came up with it themselves. So you can't blame Ring of Honor for that one. And when I heard that, I was like, of course Shelton came up with that. Hello? I got an idea. Let me grab Maria's boobs. Oh, hey! Now you're on your way out. Let's go for it. I'd like to have been around for that conversation.
He is a pro. Maybe he was a little more diplomatic than that.
I don't know. I don't know how it worked. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up.
To the back!
TNA Impact Wrestling. I had to open the file again. There was not very much good on the show.
I should report some good news, by the way. For those of you that listened to the Todd show today and heard him raving about Bob Holly's book, I'm going to be reading Bob Holly's book, and I have already put in motion plans to interview Bob Holly on the show. So I am very, very excited about that. So that's some good news, I guess. Go on.
All right. They had a nice graphic dedicated to the people of Boston, the victims of the bombings. So they showed the finish of the ladder match from last week's show, and Bully Ray hit Jeff Hardy with a hammer, and Jeff fell off through a table. And as Jeff was being carted into an ambulance after the show, Hulk Hogan was distraught, beside himself, said he was sorry for everything. Devon, in the first of about 20,000 backstage skits, Devon approached Wes and Garrett backstage about their handicap match with Kurt Angle. They were relaxed and telling jokes. He was pissed off, told them to get serious and take care of business.
Oh my God, there's another box with wires that was just found.
Yeah. Kurt Angle versus Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff.
This actually right here on the show is where I...
Gave up?
Well, I didn't give up, but like, I've been a big fan of Impact lately, and they did have a couple of good segments on the show, but I don't know what happened. I guess probably because I went to New York and missed a week of Impact. Maybe that's what happened. But I was just like, hold on a second. Briscoe and Garrett turned on Kurt, I think in January, and it's almost May, and now they're having a three-way. Like, I must have missed something, because this just seemed like it just came out of nowhere.
Last week, Kurt demanded a match with both of them.
But why?
Because
he finally got mad over something that happened in January?
Yes. It's the best I can do. He has already wrestled Wes one-on-one.
That's true.
So the match was not bad. The fans chanted, "You can't wrestle at Garrett," which is funny because of the two men on his team, he was clearly the better guy in this night. Kurt made a cool comeback, suplexing the hell out of everyone. And eventually, keep this theme in mind, a bunch of aces and eights dudes ran out to interfere. The good guy got hit with a weapon and pinned.
Yeah.
That happened many times. I'm losing my voice. I'm sick, by the way.
Actually, a hell of a match, all things considered. Kurt Angle carried two men all by himself. The double German suplex where Wes literally flew all the way across the ring, and I still, upon watching it about 8 times, have no idea how this even happened. It was a good match. Finish was kind of lame.
So they beat up Kurt some more, and Mr. Anderson, who has a terrible new haircut, cut a very annoying promo raining down all the guys they'd beaten up and wishing AJ luck later. P.D. Williams and Zema Ion cut promos about triple threat matches. So Zema Ion is out there talking about how he doesn't like it because he can lose his title without being pinned. I'm thinking, wait a minute, didn't you lose the title like 6 months ago? And sure enough, Kenny King is the X Division champion.
As a man with a buzzed head, and Kazarian put over buzzed heads on the show tonight, this buzzed head is doing P.D. Williams no favors. When you're that small, when you're that short, you need all the help you can get, and cutting all of his hair off, he looks like a dude. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. So we have the three-way. It was Kenny King versus Zema Ion versus P.D. Williams. Big story here was this was the debut of Ref Cam.
Hopefully the beginning and the end of the Ref Cam.
You're not a fan of the Ref Cam?
Nah, it just made the whole thing look, I don't know.
It made me laugh because they were shooting it and it looks like a normal standard HDTV, and they go to Ref Cam, and the frame rate drops significantly, and also everything looks yellow and smoky.
Yeah, and you're also seeing it you're seeing it from the ref's perspective where it looks phony. You know what I mean? Like if you've ever watched, everyone here I'm sure listening to this has gone to live wrestling. Sometimes you go to live wrestling and the first time you go, it goes from being like a contact sport to the ballet. And the X Division is ballet enough, but with the various camera angles and HD and everything like that, it's like I can suspend my disbelief watching the X Division. But when I watch on the ref cam, it's like it looks like dudes tumbling. You know what I mean? And the picture looks lame, and I don't know. I mean, it's not going to ruin my enjoyment of the show or anything like that, but I think it's unnecessary.
So, PD hit the Canadian Destroyer and Kenny King about a minute in, and Zima broke out the pin, and Kenny disappeared for the rest of the match until PD put Zima in a sharpshooter. Then King returned, knocked PD out of the ring. He turned around and pinned Zima Ion, which means that Zima Ion just became the first man in history to be pinned with a sharpshooter.
That is exactly what happened.
Magnus cut a promo saying he would beat Devon tonight. We had a long segment with Brooke Hogan. First, she and Christy plugged the new website for the knockouts. Then Brooke called in Mickey and the other Brooke, and they talked about their match tonight. And then other Brooke tried to console first Brooke about her marital woes, and they hugged, and she said all the girls supported her. We were supposed to get Devon versus Magnus. As soon as Magnus came out on the stage, Doc and Knox tried to jump him. He fought them off and kicked their ass. This gang sucks.
This gang is... Yeah.
So finally, Devon arrives. It took 3 of them to beat up Magnus. They hit him with a chain. The big dudes hit him with a double chokeslam on the ramp, which sounds brutal. This was the lightest, most gentle chokeslam you ever saw. And then Samoa Joe came out and scared them off. Then after the break, Joe cut a silly promo backstage saying things like, "Your transgressions will be paid in blood," that normal human beings never actually say. He called out Devon for later. They showed Velvet getting her knee looked at after the match last week.
Oh my God.
She's like, "It feels numb."
She had never gone to the doctor, apparently.
And the doctor says, "It's fine. All your ligaments are connected. There's no swelling. Everything seems good." She says, "It feels like it's going to blow up." He says, No, you're good. So, Velvet maybe has the, I believe it's Munchausen syndrome. Where you, what's the one where you think you're sick all the time?
Hypochondria.
Oh, that's it, yes. We had Brooke Tessmacher versus Mickie James in a god-awful match.
Well, let's be fair. It just went way too long and nobody cared.
Yeah.
I've seen a million, like, technically in the ring, I've seen 8 billion worse matches.
It's not like they were falling down all over each other. It's not like there were blown spots left and right.
It was a match nobody cared about, and they just kept going and going and going. ODB,
God bless her, a very bad ref. Part of the reason this was so bad is they would try to do near falls, and she'd just get there a little late, and her count wouldn't change at all. Her intensity would not change at all. She just kind of sort of count. The girls would kick out, and she wouldn't react at all. She'd just kind of get up. Very bad at this kind of thing. So Mickie eventually won with a roll-up, which is very bad. We had what I think was the best thing on the show. AJ Styles was warming up backstage.
This was the second best thing.
I'm not sure this was not better than the other thing. AJ Styles was warming up backstage, and down the hallway, like 10 feet away, is Kazarian and Daniels, just hanging out. And AJ looks at them, and he walks off. And Kaz and Daniels turn to follow him, and they're strutting right up to the camera, and they start bragging about how the band's back together. He's their friend again. And they start singing the 3 Best Friends song from The Hangover. They walked down the hallway, and the camera stayed shot on this empty wall, and you could hear their voices from farther and farther down the hallway as they sang. These men rule.
Yeah.
Team 3D jumped Joseph Parker in the locker room, beat him up, left him crying in the shower. They plugged the Knockouts website again. They did this by showing the Knockouts wearing swimsuits, which is a fine way to drive traffic to your website.
Mm-hmm.
Mickie, after her way too long match, cut a way too long promo about how it was time to get her title back and her time to shine.
I love when they announce it, I've had a horrible year and a half. Seems to happen a lot in TNA with various
It does
guys.
actually, doesn't it? We had.
Distracted by what's going on?
I was just checking. I don't know nothing to add.
Nothing new at the moment.
The commissioner has confirmed what we've already said.
I do love there's a press conference in the middle of the manhunt.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So much bad information now that they have to go out of the way to try and correct it. All right. Storm cut a promo backstage, said he would beat AJ. The other best thing on the show happened. It also had bad influence. Sometimes you'll get like John Cena, who'll have a wide variety of different t-shirts. Bad influence, it appears they have one t-shirt, but it's available in a multitude of colors. So they came out wearing all three of them. They promised a bad influence movie, including Morgan Freeman playing the part of Dixie Carter. They bragged about AJ joining them. They started talking about Chavo and Hernandez. They vowed to get their titles back. Rude and Aries finally interrupted, said that they were doing a rematch. They would be getting the shot first. Daniels replied that Rude was Canadian, therefore his opinion was only worth 3/4 that of an American. Aries started talking. He made some gay jokes about Kaz and Daniels. My voice is sad. So Aries makes these gay jokes, and Kaz replies, quote, tee-hee, giggle, giggle.
Yeah.
He then called Aries a dirty vegan.
A dirty vegan, which led to meat-eating jokes.
Yes. Suggesting blowjobs. So finally, the two teams are squaring off, and they're shouting at each other, and it looks like there's going to be violence. And Bad Influence throws up their hands, and they back down, and they back away. I need to get some water, or I'm going to die. Let me get through this. So the Bad Influence backs away, and Rude and Aries are celebrating. What they don't know is that Chavo and Hernandez have entered the ring behind them. They turn around, and the champions kick their ass, and Chavo holds up the belt and says, this proves we are best. And that was it. This was a great segment. I'm going to get some water.
Alrighty. So this exact moment, we're in the middle of the press conference, and meanwhile, manhunt going on. It's gone rather quiet. Apparently, people have been told to turn off their radios. They're concerned that the radios might detonate a device, which obviously would be no good. This reporter here says, police say no controlled detonation expected, as we are watching SWAT teams investigate and collect evidence around unexploded devices. There is a photo from 7-Eleven of the suspect that is in the white hat, was in the white hat in the photos from the Boston bombing. He is now in a hooded sweatshirt. Hooded sweatshirt, no sunglasses, just exposing his face to the world on this camera. This may be when he stole the car, which happened earlier this evening. I'm actually getting a call right now from a blocked number, which I'm not going to answer. It's kind of weird. What else is going on here? 475 Arsenal possible spotting, it says. Apparently Fox News has aired footage of the dead suspect on the street. Things apparently are starting to pick up here a little bit. Vinny is back. Got a cough drop.
Uh-huh.
On a lighter note, everybody, I realized why my Ricola the other day could have been better. I did not roll my R. It should have been Ricola. How's that one?
That was great.
All right, continue with Impact.
All right, I've gotten some water and some cherry honey Ricola, in fact. Great tasting, it says. Pretty good. All right. They showed Hardy being carted out after the main event last week. And they had all the heels on the roster who were not in the Aces and Eights. I guess not all the heels, but had Kenny King and Gail Kim and Bobby Roode. They're all saying the Aces and Eights had gone too far, and this was a very dangerous situation. And this was a really good, really short, easy thing to do that just distinguished Aces and Eights from everybody else. So I like this.
Matt Morgan ran down Hulk Hogan's mistakes. I don't really know what he said. I can only focus on the fact that this man
looks ridiculous.
He has an enormous, perhaps dyed black beard, scraggly, probably really itchy, nasty. At the same time, he is using way too much gel to push his hair straight up. And it may have just been the light, but it also appeared to be frosted.
I believe he does frost his bangs, yes. It's been that way for a while, actually.
It is astounding. Devon wrestled Samoa Joe. I'm about 90% sure that Samoa Joe was out there wrestling in a skort. They went for like 3 minutes, and then, yes, a bunch of aces and eights dudes interfered, and Joe got pinned. They hit him in the face with brass knuckles. Main event was James Storm versus homeless AJ Styles. It was good. It was nothing you haven't seen 100 times. There was one great spot where every match AJ has ever done for the past decade, at some point, you know he's going to do a leapfrog, a drop down, and a drop kick.
Yes.
So at this point, he's had his life destroyed, and he's on, I guess, a comeback trail. So he does the leapfrog, he does the drop down, and then when Storm is running at him, he drops back down and just trips him. Awesome. Seriously, that is awesome. Bad Influence came out to watch AJ and cheer him on. He just sneered at them. And finally, Storm went for a super kick, and AJ blocked it and put him in a wacky leg lock, and James Storm tapped out.
He submitted him.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Why do you say that?
Babyface submitting is rarity.
All right. So, Bad Influence hit the ring. They raised AJ's hands. He smiled at them for a minute, and then knocked them out with a series of kicks. And then he and Storm had a stare down. And then the Aces and Eights came out, and AJ just walked away. And they beat up Storm. And then Bully Ray cut a promo saying all the heroes are gone and dead. It was all Hogan's fault. He's going to call Hogan on next week. He kicked Storm. Said all the heroes were dead again. He's going to call Hogan out again. Went on and on, repeating himself. And finally, mercifully, the show went off the air.
Yeah, not the best impact of all time.
Not the worst of all time, but the worst one in the last 2-3 months.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I apologize for the show.
I apologize for my throat.
Yeah. Amazingly, we've been on the air here doing this for 52 minutes, and this manhunt is still on. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. But again, by the time most of you hear this, it will likely be over. To the back! All right, now we can do Impact.
Impact opened with the Aces and Eights arriving at the building. They have been walking around, they've had access to the show for like 6 months or something. This week, 3 security guards took it upon themselves to try to stop them from getting in. And Ray threatened them, and they left, and the Aces and Eights came in, and that was it. I don't know why this aired.
Got a lot of emails already, by the way, for After Dark.
Oh, well, there you go.
About that.
James Storm came out for a promo. Started talking about his match with AJ last week. He quickly realized AJ was watching from the stands.
This was goofy. The dude just came out and AJ is standing there in the stands.
Yeah, like Batman or something.
I mean, it would be one thing if Bully started talking and then he came out.
Yeah.
But no, he was just standing there, like he'd been standing there all night.
For hours, perhaps. So, Storm said AJ's new finisher hurt like hell, and he had been the better man that night. He started talking about the Aces and Eights. He dared some of them to come out. Instead, he got Bad Influence, including Chris Daniels in a brown leather blazer.
Mm-hmm.
Daniels said it was time to get rid of the Aces and Eights, and the only way to do that was to get Fortune back together.
What a plan.
Because Lord knows Fortune was so awesome. Kaz, in front of the world and everyone, forgave AJ for the cheap shots he'd hit them with last week. Nice man. Asked AJ to come down and join them. Storm told them to shut up. A 2-on-1 brawl quickly broke out. The heels kicked him in the nuts, left him lying. AJ just watched all this. And then with Storm still down selling his nuts, the Aces and Eights came out to kill him. Joe Park came out to make the save, but he was overwhelmed, and they put him through a table with a 3D. That was it.
Indeed.
So after the break, they're still out there. And Bully Ray repeats what he says. The heroes are all gone. Sting's gone. Hardy's gone. RVD's gone. Samoa Joe's gone. And he vowed to call Hogan out tonight. And at this point, the announcer started running down the show. And there was a guy behind Mike Tenay with a receding hairline and a Hulk Hogan t-shirt who had more charisma than at least 90% of the roster. And on this show, it may have been 100.
Very excited to be on television. He tried to make his child excited, but his child could not possibly care
Yes,
less.
child was humiliated.
So he was even more excited.
Yes. Hulk showed up at the building. He had nothing to say. Tara versus Taryn Terrell was much longer than you would think, and it was not bad.
It's all right.
I don't know if it was good, but it was not bad. So Taryn kicked out about 1 million times, and then Tara went for her standing moonsault, and Taryn schoolgirled her and won. Robbie E. had a meeting with Jesse Goddard.
She was right in the ropes, by the way. This is what happens when you do these matches on live television. Maybe the idea was that she was supposed to be in the ropes, but they sure did a poor job explaining that since they cut away immediately after it was over.
Robbie E. had a meeting with Jesse Goddard, said that he had a match tonight with Rob Terry. If he won, he could be a bigger bro than George Washington, Al Bundy, or Oprah Winfrey.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't think anyone does. All I know is Jesse listened to this pep talk, and then he flexed his biceps and thought. So, they had Jesse Goddard versus Rob Terry. And Rob Terry was slow and plodding and unstoppable and no-selling. He was Frankenstein with a six-pack. He destroyed both men, hit about 100 Beals, and he got the win with a fireman's carry spinebuster thing.
I was not really all that impressed.
No, nor should you have been. Bad Influence met with Bobby Roode. They were still after a Fortune reunion. Apparently there were 5 guys in Fortune. I've forgotten this. But they said if they could get Roode to stand by them, then they were sure AJ would follow soon after. He was concerned about his tag team with Austin Aries. Wanted to know if Aries could tag along. He said it would be better with just 4 guys. And Roode didn't really say anything. So they left. And then we saw that Aries was listening to this and smiling.
So Fortune did have 5 guys, but they claimed it would be better with 4.
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure I all that cleared up.
That's as I understand it, yeah. They showed Jeff Hardy losing to Bully Ray in the ladder match, said he was considering retirement. We had a big video package hyping Chris Sabin's return from not 1, but 2 torn ACLs.
Yeah.
This poor fucker. Good for him, he's coming back.
Been gone 2 years.
Essentially, yeah. He's also grown his hair out like Uriah Faber. This was good stuff, and I'm glad they did something for his return rather than just throwing him out there in a random X match. Which I guess it will be anyway, but at least they hyped it.
Actually, if this show is taped, should already be results of the Impact tapings, right? Or no, I think they taped.
Did they tape
Impact
the same
spoilers
night?
for next week's show. Hold on a second, everybody. Spoilers coming.
Okay, this is interesting for another reason, but we'll get to that later.
Chris Sabin beat Zema Ion and Sanjay Dutt in a 3-way in his return to TNA. Very good match. All 3 looked good in a short, tight contest, it says here. Well, it's good.
It is good.
So he didn't tear another ACL here.
Excellent news. Chavo Hernandez versus Rude and Aries. They showed a video of Aries confronting Rude backstage. Said he'd heard the conversation. He said he and Rude were not friends. Rude wanted to go reform Fortune. That was fine. But that group never accomplished anything. And if you stick with me, we can regain the tag titles. And he actually sounded more like a dick than I do here reading that same speech. So Daniels was out there doing commentary, burying Aries at all opportunities. Every time something went wrong for their team, it was Aries' fault.
This goddamn match.
Well, yeah.
Todd Kennelly, everybody.
It's really just the one guy, just the one announcer.
I realize that we all make mistakes. And it's not like I've never made mistakes on this show. In fact, I usually make numerous mistakes on every show. But this dude had no idea who the tag team champions were. And granted, part of me was like, I don't blame the guy. But Hernandez and Chavo just, like a couple of weeks ago, won the tag team titles in Texas. I remember this. It was in Texas. That's why they won the tag team titles. Todd Kennelly could not figure out who in the hell the tag team champions were.
He constantly referred to Rude and Aries as the champs, said they were fighting to retain.
Yeah, he said the champs were fighting to retain, or no, he is specifically talking about Rude and Aries, not just like the champs. Rude and Aries are getting the heat, and he's like, this is what the champs do best. Slow down the pace. And I was like, homie, they ain't the champs.
The other team came out with the belts, by the way. There's also a clue.
Somebody, Travon Hernandez came out with the championship belts. Apparently, he was not even watching his own monitor. Apparently, somebody must have said something in his ear, because when the bell rang to end the match, he knew who the tag champs were at that point. But this was infuriating. Rarely these days, as a calm married man, rarely do I scream at my TV, but I was screaming at the TV here. I could not get over this.
So they did the spot of the year where Hernandez, he does his running dive from the ramp into the ring. Usually he takes out both guys. This time he did the running dive, and the two guys parted like the Red Sea.
Yes.
And Hernandez splattered on his face in the middle of the ring.
This poor guy.
I laughed and laughed. He was not killed. Made a big comeback. That was actually quite great. And then Chavo got a hot tag and ran wild. And Bad Influence tried to interfere, but it backfired. And in the end, Chavo pinned Rude with a frog splash. So the heel teams are going to feud. I don't know what the tag champs are going to do. We got a quick Morgan promo backstage. He said if Hulk went out to face Billy Ray, it would be his biggest mistake yet. And then after the break, Morgan was in the ring for a promo.
Oh, dear God.
The first part of this was no good. Like recapping the entire history of Aces and Eights in as long and boring a manner as possible.
Nobody gave a shit
No.
about Matt Morgan.
No. So he called Hogan out. Hulk obliged. And then Matt's promo got much better. He started explaining that all the other heroes were gone. You need me more than ever. I'm your 7-foot white knight. No one's better equipped to fight these guys. No one wants to fight them more. If you put me in this match, I will kick Billy Ray's head off and into the stands. But he would only do this if Hulk made him a number one contender and gave him a title shot at Slammiversary. Hulk said that he had always hoped Morgan would come around and step up and lead the charge, but now he was doing it for the wrong reasons. He was still being selfish. He said giving in to Morgan and giving in his demands would be the biggest mistake of all. So he's going to go out later and take what Billy Ray had to give by himself. He called Morgan a whiny little bitch.
You want to know what happens next week?
Not really.
All right, I'll make you wait.
Okay.
You can get infuriated next week.
Do you want to tell me what happened next week?
No, you have to beg.
Aces and Eights had a meeting backstage. They were laughing at what they had done to Joe Park. And
I'll tell you what happens next week. After all of this bullshit for months, they do Matt Morgan versus Sting, with the winner getting the shot at Slammiversary, and Sting beats him with the Scorpion.
Oh, God.
I should have been infuriated because I do not want to see Matt Morgan in main events on TNA. But it's funny. I don't get it. I don't get the Matt Morgan thing. Like, you know what I mean?
He's tall.
I know.
Looks good in airports.
I know. It's 2013.
I know. Aces and Eights had a meeting backstage. They were laughing about what they had done to Joe Park and what they were going to do to Hulk later. And then Bully Ray, I guess he keeps going back on his word. But this is like the second or third time where he asked the guys to stay in the back so he could fight on his own. And I guess in the end, he always gets a hammer from Taz, or in this case, the whole gang came out. But it's just so, I don't know. He's the heel, and he's talking about fighting his own battles. Even though he's lying, it's still stupid. So, earlier, as you noted, they've already taped next week's show, including an X Division match. So they put up voting here, and actually now I have no idea what's going on. Because I could have sworn they said that you could vote for which X Division guy would get a shot next week. They explained that Chris Sabin was already in the match. And the guys you could vote for were Rashad Cameron, Rockstar Spud, or Suicide. And none of those guys were in that match, so I have no idea what you're voting for here.
Maybe it's on a different week.
I guess.
I don't know.
But what a bunch of choices. Rashad Cameron, who's been in like one match the past years, maybe ever. Rockstar Spud, who we've never seen wrestle, and Suicide, who has not been on TV for a year.
I did laugh when I saw the Suicide.
X Division is pretty slim.
Yeah. So what happens when every match has to be a three-way? You got to come up with some stuff.
That's also true. Mickie James versus Velvet Sky for the women's title. They actually did a hell of a job building this up throughout the show, so that by the time it came out for the main event, it actually seemed important, believe it or not. I swear to God, that's true. So Mickie looked good in the pin-up sense, and then also in the action sense. All her wrestling and stuff looked really good. Velvet did not. I was certain, between the build and the fact that Mickey's physique looked like it was at its best possible point, I was certain she was winning the title. I was wrong. Did their match. The gimmick is that Velvet is selling the knee that she claimed was hurt last week, and the trainer said was not hurt. Only Velvet Sky sucks. So she would run around and throw a bunch of kicks and then take one step and grab her knee and collapse. Happened a few times.
You know, there are some people that can sell an injury and make a match a lot better. And then there are some people that they're really not very good, and so then they have to sell an injury to make themselves even more handicapped.
Yeah.
And it just makes the match god awful. That's what happened here. Velvet was so horrendous in this match, trying to sell the knee, and it's at some point she couldn't walk because she'd fall down, and then later it was Mickie went for a DDT, and she stood up on her feet, supporting Mickie above her head, and threw her across the ring.
Yeah.
Your knee held up for that?
Yes.
I don't believe this.
This is fake. This is fake.
This is not on the level.
So, after all that, Velvet, who sucks, rolled up Mickie, who is good, and Velvet won.
That is a fact.
And there was one particular female fan who adores Velvet Sky, and she was standing up and applauding and squealing with joy. And I'd say squealing. It was very annoying.
This match was not very good.
No, it was poor. Bully Ray and Devon had a meeting in a stairwell somewhere. Bully accused Devon of lusting after Brooke, his wife. To which Devon replied, "Of course I do. Look at her." And Ray said, "Well, I'm done with her. Do whatever you want." This meeting was awesome. Ray once again talked about destroying Hulk. Brooke tried to talk Hulk out of doing this. Hulk said that in the end, all people would remember if he was a good man or a bad man, and he wanted to prove he was a good man. He told Brooke he loved her, and he hugged her goodbye. Because he was going to be killed.
Yeah.
So Ray came out for the main event angle. He called out Hulk. Hulk came out without crutches. It was funny, because he had no crutches, and he was moving at a regular pace down to the ring, and you said, "Hulk looks good." And I thought, he does. And your wife said, "What's wrong with him?"
Standards are different for a normal human being.
Yes.
She looked at Hulk Hogan and he looked like he was 200.
Yes.
We looked at Hogan and it was like, God damn, guy's moving great.
He looks only 125.
Here's the thing with Hulk. He didn't walk down, for Hulk Hogan standards, he walked down the ramp great. Problem was, once he was in the ring and he actually had to do some stuff, this guy's legs are shot.
Yeah.
I mean, he wears the black pants, but you can tell his legs are just. I mean, he kept adjusting his trousers, so I think that his pants. I think he's lost so much muscle mass in his lower body that his trousers are fitting funny now.
Yeah,
he's lost his ass and his legs, so his pants kind of fall down a little bit, and he just looks so skinny, and he can't do legs. He just got a knee replaced, I'm sure, and. There's no way he's doing squats. There's no way he's doing deadlifts.
Jesus Christ.
Best he can do probably are maybe I don't even know if he can do leg extensions or leg curls because of his knee. So he's got these kind of like Great Khali, these spindly legs that you cover up, and then this big upper body, which at his age is just way too big. Especially with all of his injuries. And he throws a couple of punches, but you can just tell, everything he does, he's unsteady.
Yeah.
Just standing there. And you just watch it, it's like, okay. Down the road, no matter what they say, it looks like it's leading towards Bully Ray versus Hulk Hogan. This is such a bad
That's
idea.
an impossible thing to do.
Maybe you could do some sort of tag match, but even then, it's like, honest to God, literally the only thing that Hogan can do is stand still and throw a fist. How do you do a match? What, he does some back rakes and then he kind of just lays down on the mat while someone stomps on him? I mean, it's a terrible idea. Maybe he won't wrestle. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe in fact they have no plans for him to wrestle. But if that's the case, then this booking leaves a lot to be desired, because all you're doing is leading the fans to want to see Hulk Hogan wrestle. And I don't know if a substitution is going to please them. So, we'll see.
Now, all that being said, his acting in here was actually really great. He had a stare down with Bully. Bully talked about seeing fear in Hulk's eyes, said he was the same as young Hulk was, and that's why Hulk was so afraid. Finally, Hulk declared the Hulkamania would never die. And then Bully made a move, and Hulk flinched. And Hulk, upon flinching and knowing and realizing that in front of the world he had revealed himself to be a washed up, weak, crippled old man, he was so sad. And he hung his head, and he put his hand to his forehead, and he knew that he'd exposed his weakness. And Bully laughed at him.
I think we saw this completely differently. Bully spit on him.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I don't think it was a flinch, but that was a hell of a story you told right there. An amazing story, in fact.
Yeah.
He should be writing.
What
happened was Bully spit on him right in the face. That made him mad.
Oh, that's not nearly as good. Yeah. Hulk was wiping the spit out of his eyes then. Fuck, I liked it much better my way.
Well, let's just go back and pretend I never said anything. Tell your story.
Hulk's got his hand to his eyes, and he's grabbing the ropes, and Ray turns his back to him, and he's laughing at the old man and pointing at him and having a grand old time. Then Hulk fires up.
This all is true, everybody, this part.
He can take no more. He tears off his T-shirt, place is going nuts. He turns to Bully Ray, and he does the finger point and goes, "You!" And Ray just looks at him blankly and points back and says, "You!" And at that point, I thought Ray was going to become the first guy ever to just no-sell the Hulk up and beat him down and be the ultimate heel. What a fool I am. A complete fool I am. Ray threw a punch. Hulk blocked it. Happened a few other times. He whipped Ray into the ropes. Ray ran away. He could not fight the 60-year-old man coming off hip surgery. So his gang came out to fight for him. They all surrounded the ring. The lights went out. When they came back, Sting was in the ring. He had his bat up to Hogan's chest. This made Bully Ray giddy with joy that Sting had apparently gone to his side and he was going to kill Hulk. But then Sting turned around and he pointed the bat at Ray. Ray, in one motion, turned his back and fled, but also ordered his men to attack. That was awesome. So Sting and Hulk cleared the ring, but then Sting turned to Hulk and put his bat in his chest again, and finally backed away, but they are still not friends. That was the show.
Now, maybe I'm just like out of my mind, but I always thought that the "you" was something that the fans had created for Hulk Hogan. I always remember he's pointed forever, but was he the one that screamed "you," or was that something that the people added to his act? Like the fans added that to his act in the last few years.
I think the fans, well, the last decade or so, they've added it, but I think the fans started it, but he has taken it from them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which, by the way, just makes the whole thing even more comical. So, a man hits his finisher on Hulk.
Yeah.
And Hogan kicks out, shakes his head, and begins stomping in a circle. And then the guy throws one more punch in his face, and he proceeds to stop and point his finger right at them and say, "You!"
Yes.
As in, me? That's what the villain should say. Me? I don't even understand this comeback. Why is he pointing at them? Why is he alerting them that they are themselves? Am I missing something?
You're going to question the most popular and beloved comeback of all time.
Not all these fans here. You. You're the one in trouble, buddy. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start doing that when people... Maybe on the show, when next time Todd challenges me on something, I'm just going to go, you! And point forwards. That's what I'm going to do. I already shake my head. No one can see that, though. Someday we should go and break down all these comebacks. The Hogan comeback is a... it's got a special place in my heart with the finger point of doom. Especially when he points at Ric Flair and he says, you! And it's like Ric Flair realizes, me? Shit!
Well, Flair was the best at it,
And he shakes his head and takes a bump.
Yeah. Flair sold the finger point the way some people sold thumbtacks.
Like maybe Ric Flair, when he's attacking Hulk Hogan, he actually thinks he's someone else. But then when Hulk Hogan points at him and reminds him that he is in fact himself, then he's like, shit! This is where I take a bunch of high bumps and backdrops. Anyway, everybody. With that said, this was an edition of Impact. I was not blown away by it. Wasn't a bad show, but wasn't a great show. And a lot of women having live matches, which wasn't the best thing in the world. But what can you do? All right, we're going to wrap it up.